Please be seated. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to invite Mr. Chris Tobin, representative of the Darug people, to offer the traditional welcome to country. Mr. Tobin.
Thank you. Budri Malunawul, Nalawa. Good morning and welcome. Welcome to the lands of the Wallen Medical. I belong to one of the local Aboriginal families of the Darug people, the traditional custodians of this part of the country. I wish to thank the University for their acknowledgement of us and for the invitation to welcome you here this morning. That acknowledgement is important for our people and much appreciated, particularly by our elders. My family descend from Yarramundi, a respected elder and cleverman of the Burrabrongal clan during the early years of colonisation. He saw that our survival in this new world could best be secured if we could learn more about it. As such, he enrolled his daughter, Maria, into the Native Institution, a school set up in 1815 by Governor Macquarie himself, offering formal education to Aboriginal children. Maria studied there for several years and used her newly acquired skills to lobby and ultimately secure some land for herself and her family out along the Richmond Road. Other Aboriginal families soon joined them and became known as the Blackstown, where the present-day city of Blacktown gets its name from. We are very proud of her, as I'm sure your families are of you here today. And with good reason. Your progress is our progress. Your advancement is our advancement. Now, that was perhaps more readily understood in traditional times when clan groups were smaller and abided by strict sharing laws. It meant that the food that you brought back to the camp got distributed throughout the rest of the community. Your skills and efforts were enjoyed by all and, like I say, strengthened the community. You, in turn, were looked after by them, of course. Yes, we can live quite beautifully when we do it right. Our Aboriginal ancestors certainly lived well in many respects, and I would recommend them to yourselves as a benchmark or a way of seeing how our lives today could be. You see, when Captain Cook arrived a little over 200 years ago, he described the people he encountered there as one of the happiest people he had met in the world. They had nothing, he wrote, but the tools that they carried. They were naked, made shelters out of the bark of trees without cutting them down, and harvested food from the earth without tilling it. In traditional times, everyone was accorded rights to the country or clan area where he or she was born into. So there was no homelessness, and no rich and poor either. Everyone had pretty much the same amount of gear, what you can carry. There were no armies or jails or even police. We have no history of slavery or empire building. People cooperated to collect the resources that were needed, and then they were shared out strictly according to Aboriginal law. Our lands are maintained in their natural state, with the rivers here clean and unpolluted, with people drinking out of them as they have done here for the past 20,000 years. Now remember, this is not an ideal, this was normal life. And I don't think we should expect less for ourselves and our children than what our ancestors enjoyed. So I would say to you, expect great things from your future and do great things. I think together, if we share our gifts with each other, we can create a future that's wonderful and worthy of our children. We can all do our bit. I'll do mine now by winding up and letting you good people graduate. Just want to say congratulations to all of you and all the best in our collective futures. Thank you. Welcome to country.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm pleased to introduce the Vice-Chancellor of Macquarie University, Professor S. Bruce Doughton.
Thank you. Thank you, Chris, for your welcome to country. Colleagues, guests, families and friends of our graduands, and most importantly, the graduands themselves. It is my distinct honour and a pleasure to welcome you all here today to this graduation ceremony. I hope it will be a wonderful day and a memorable occasion for all of you. I bring you greetings from our Chancellor, the Honourable Michael Egan, and our Deputy Chancellor, Ms Elizabeth Crouch, neither of whom could be here today. Our Chancellor is wont to note at the start of graduations that small children, of whom we have a number here today, are very welcome to stay in our graduation. So please do not feel that you have to leave if a small child or a baby makes a noise at all. As I note, I'm a paediatrician, and our Chancellor served in the Parliament for 25 years, so we've both heard much worse than could possibly be noted here today. Today we celebrate the achievements of those of you who are about to receive your degrees in graduation. Completing a degree is never easy. You need an intelligent and inquiring mind, determination and perseverance, and you need to make many sacrifices along the way as well. You've worked very hard to arrive at this day, and you have every right to feel very proud of what you have accomplished. We at the university are equally as proud of all you have achieved, so my congratulations to each and every one of you. Today I want to also especially welcome those of you who are sitting behind the graduands and to my left over here. The fact that you have been invited to attend the graduation ceremony today, to share in one of the greatest days of most of these folks' lives, is proof positive that you have had a very important influence on their lives. So, to our invited guests, I offer a warm welcome and congratulations to you as well, and thank you for celebrating this great occasion. You graduands may not realise, but you are about to participate in one of the oldest of Europe's social rituals. If you were to pick a date of, say, 1500 AD, and look to see what social institutions existed back then and are still around today, you would find only about 60, including the Roman Catholic Church, the Parliaments of England, and yes, believe it, Iceland and the Isle of Man, along with 6 Swiss cantons, government regions in Switzerland. The rest are in fact all universities. That's right, there are about 50 universities in the world that can trace their history back more than 500 years, and some far further than that. And in every one of those 500 years, graduates like you have been donning gowns just like the ones you are wearing today, and participating in ceremonies just like this one. Macquarie University, you will not be surprised to know, is not one of those 50 universities. We are a very young university, celebrating our 50th Jubilee from the founding of this university by the Act of the New South Wales Parliament in 1964. And in those 50 years, we have come a long way. We now have graduates living in more than 140 countries, spread across the world, and I believe it is potentially later this afternoon or tomorrow that we will award our 150,000th degree from Macquarie University since our founding. Macquarie University has been and is today a leader in teaching and learning, and a leader in the accumulation of wisdom, knowledge and understanding. In other words, an ideal community of scholars. And in just a few moments, it will be my great honour to confer your degrees upon you and welcome you as lifelong member of that community of scholars we know as Macquarie University. Thank you.
Vice-Chancellor, I call on Mr. Sean Romash Anthony Fernando, who is graduating today with a Master of Applied Finance and who has been awarded the Vice-Chancellor's Commendation for Academic Excellence, to speak on behalf of the graduating group. Mr. Fernando.
Good morning, Vice-Chancellor, members of the University, fellow graduates, and guests. It's a privilege to have an opportunity today to be the graduate speaker. And to be honest, I'm happy enough just to graduate, considering how hard I found the first couple of lectures at Macquarie. I want to take a moment to tell you how I prepared for this speech today. The university was very kind, and they provided me a couple of past speeches from previous graduations. So I thought that was quite good, but maybe they looked at my transcript and thought, this guy needs a bit of help, so thank you for that. So with those examples, I thought it might be quite easy to prepare for this speech, but as we all know, as we studied our undergrads and our masters, we can't plagiarise, so therefore I approached this speech in the way that many of us have prepared for important assignments. So late last night I prepared. I used some of my experiences, bounced some ideas off my friends, and that didn't work, so I opened Google. So now I'd like to start my speech proper. I'd like to thank all of the academic staff. You've helped develop us for the next stage of our careers, and on behalf of all the graduates, I'd like to thank you for your commitment, the passion that you've showed during your teaching, and of course for those occasional open book exams. We thank you for that. Specifically, I'd like to thank the Applied Finance Centre where I studied at Macquarie. All the students that I studied with were very passionate about finance at the commencement of our degree. But through engagement with Macquarie, we're much more passionate now, so we thank you for sharing your knowledge and your expertise over the last year with us. I'd also like to thank you for being available to us throughout the academic year. You may have regretted on occasions often saying that there's no such thing as stupid questions. The class and I certainly pushed the theory on that limit, but thank you for your patience. I don't think my fellow students and I could have been pushed much harder in our masters, and I'm sure the same with the undergraduates. A lot of our assignments were done with minutes to spare and exams with barely seconds to spare. At the time, we may have wished it to be a little bit easier, but with the benefit of hindsight, I think we're much happier that we've gone through that experience. So thank you. Secondly, I'd like to thank all of our family and friends for encouraging and supporting us to help us achieve our best. I think a key lesson that we've learned over our time is that our networks can really help make a challenge like university a lot of fun, and they can also help us to excel. On a personal level, I'd like to thank my partner here today. She often reminds me that my successes are our shared successes, but my failings, not so much. I'm sure my fellow students would also like to thank each other. We've done a lot for each other during the last year and years while we've been here at Macquarie. We've got a great respect for each other, and we've seen ourselves at our best during different classes, on group assignments, and sometimes at UBAR. At UBAR, it might have been at our worst, but that was also fun. It was also very interesting learning with a diverse group of students. I think in my first class, I met people from almost every continent, and I'm sure that might be a common experience that a lot of you had. I think this enhanced our learning experience as we shared more knowledge with each other on financial markets, on different work cultures, and it made it a lot of fun. So thank you. I'd also like to say a few words about the future, as I think that's a pressing thing on a lot of our minds at the moment. So I thought I'd get an insight by having a look at Macquarie's YouTube channel and some previous speeches. And a common theme that I noticed was that there was a common nervousness about job prospects in the future over those periods of time. But in a way, that's reassuring because all of those graduates are doing quite well, especially Macquarie University graduates. So even though it might take a while for us to land our dream jobs, we should remember what we've learned here at Macquarie, try very hard, and one day we will achieve some great unpaid internships. In closing, I'd like to congratulate everyone on achieving this milestone. I wish you all fulfillment in your career and your lives. I'm sure we'll solidify the bonds that we've formed over our time here. And I hope that our paths come across each other during our careers. So all the best, and thank you very much.
Sean, thank you very much for those words. You have done things for us all here today with your words, and particularly for me. You have reminded your fellow graduates about the importance of these wonderful folks on the stage here, the academic staff who have helped you along the way. You've paid tribute to your family and friends who've also supported you, and to your colleagues as well as students. And I think your final piece of advice there about trying hard is a really important notation. I'm particularly relieved and glad that when you were invited up here to speak, and I can marvel at all of you who have financial skills, as you clearly have. As I looked at Sean's notes and noted that he changed pages in an order which I couldn't work out, that he had crossings out and underlinings and highlightings on his notes, just the way I do with my finances. And I'm very glad that you're all there to help me with my finances, because the world certainly needs all of your wonderful skills. Sean, thank you. And let me ask you all to join me again in congratulating Sean for a wonderful speech. As Vice-Chancellor of Macquarie University, I especially look forward to presiding at ceremonies such as today's and the conferring of degrees and diplomas on those who have complied with the university's requirements for such awards. I now call upon the Deputy Registrar, Mr. Jonathan Wiley, to formally certify the eligibility of those who have met the requirements for these awards. Deputy Registrar.
Vice-Chancellor, I certify that all candidates being presented here today and those who are absent have satisfied the requirements of the Academic Senate for the degrees and diplomas they are to be awarded. Would all candidates for admission to degrees and diplomas please stand?
In the name of Macquarie University Council, and by my authority delegated from the Council as Vice-Chancellor, I admit each of you present and those who are absent to the degrees and diplomas for which you have qualified. Graduates, congratulations.
Please be seated. Vice-Chancellor, the graduates at this ceremony are from the Faculty of Business and Economics. This is the largest faculty at Macquarie University and is indeed one of the largest in Australia. A broad range of programs in some of the most exciting and topical areas of business and economics are offered, and these continue to be in high demand, both domestically and internationally. Graduates have recorded employment levels and starting salaries well above the average for Australian business schools. Research in this faculty is cutting edge and innovative, feeding into teaching to give students the best possible learning experience. The faculty includes research and study areas in accounting, actuarial studies, applied finance, economics, management, and marketing. Vice-Chancellor, I now call on Professor Lorne Cummings, Associate Dean, Higher Degree Research from the Faculty of Business and Economics, to present the graduates. Professor Cummings.
Vice-Chancellor, I present to you the graduates from the Faculty of Business and Economics, whom you have admitted to degrees. I present the graduate admitted to the degree of Master of International Business with the Master of International Business, Maxim Chachevny. I present graduates admitted to the degree of Master of Actuarial Practice, Crystal Ko Wen Singh. Lu Tong. Jan Wang. Cameron Dane Bailey. Rebecca Adele Berg. Matthew Chan. Beasa Dida. Srinivas Desirazu. James Alexander Drury. Adrian Matthew DeCini. Daniela Maria Epp. Sean Ramesh Anthony Fernando, who has been awarded the Vice-Chancellor's Commendation for Academic Excellence. Phoebe Ferreira. Paul Tosh Irving. John Paul Camus. Yi Lin. Natumbi Futhi Sebsil Mamba. Wei Shi. Rola Zaki Abultaif. I present graduates admitted to the degree of Master of Commerce. Sarah Azan. Shin-Chi Bai. Yao Ting Bai. Rishti MD Bakth. Sharia Baral. Lai Kwan Cham. Claudia Elizabeth Chappell. Xiaoxi Shi. Roy Chen. Mohammed Rakib Al-Qada Chowdhury. Li Ding. Do Tat Dong. Guan Nan Du. Zhen Jiao Feng. Eshuan Feng. Xinyi Fu. Mingjun Han. Mohammed Mahmudul Haq. Mohammed Imran Hossain. Wei Huang. Wei Kong. Yun Lai. Cao Huang Ang Lei. Lin Chun Lee. Pei Li. Shuman Li. Yo Li. Yulin Li. Feiming Liu. Chen Liu. Xian Liu. Ti Ban Mai Nguyen. Li Chong Ong. Mengyin Peng. Ji Shue Ren. Yang Ren. George Samacic. Wei Jin Shan. Jingjing Shao. Xin Sui. Chen Suen. Jia Yi Suen. Periyat Tuan Kripon. Pawani Uti Pipa Tanakun. Henung Wang. Mei Wang. Rong Wang. Zheng Huang. Ran Wei. Yuting Wei. Vun Bing Wang. Hongze Wu. Lin Wu. Di Yang. Yin Yang. Ying Lan Yi. Shiran Yao. Hui Zheng. Mingchao Zhang. Wenjing Zhang. Wenjuan Zhang. Xin Zhang. Yanxin Zhou. Yanjin Zhu. I present graduates admitted to the degree of Master of Economics. Shamin Chowdhury. Wei Zheng Stuart Tan. I present graduates admitted to the degree of Master of International Business. Lei Chung. Yi Xin Chen. Ishtiaq Ahmed Chowdhury. Marvin Christian. Sheng Do. Dylan Miller Forrest. Natapol Jamsuan. Zon Tao Li. Lu Yu Suo. Ting Zhu. Teng Tu. Chen Ning Shu. Shouhan Yin. Vanessa Yang Yu. I present the graduate admitted to the Honours degree of Bachelor of Economics with First Class Honours and the University Medal for Economics, Alexander Cooper. I present the graduate admitted to the Honours degree of Bachelor of Economics with First Class Honours, Daniel Paul Norris. I present the graduate admitted to the Honours degree of Bachelor of Economics, Geneva Ann Alther. I present the graduate admitted to the degree of Bachelor of Actuarial Studies with the Bachelor of Economics, Thompson Wong. I present graduates admitted to the degree of Bachelor of Actuarial Studies with the Bachelor of Science, Chen Jun Song. Qin Yang Zhao. I present graduates admitted to the degree of Bachelor of Applied Finance with the Bachelor of Actuarial Studies, Marco Chan. Zhenzhou Chang. Jiu Chen. Peng Guo. Ling Keat Kang. Andrew Lee. Jessica Shuyan Leong. Benjamin Saik Hoi Lim. Carol Chen Lim. Chao Yu. Yao Lu. Shouqi Zheng. Stephen Zhao. I present the graduate admitted to the degree of Bachelor of Applied Finance with the Bachelor of Commerce in Actuarial Studies, Harun Khan. I present graduates admitted to the degree of Bachelor of Actuarial Studies, Qian Yang Chen, who has been awarded the Vice-Chancellor's Commendation for Academic Excellence. Sen Sen Fung. Min Kang Kim. Tony Kong. Ken Yul Lee. Karlok Leong, who has been awarded the Vice-Chancellor's Commendation for Academic Excellence. Jia Hui Lin. Yue Wang. Li Xin Wu. Garen Aknian. Nerida Janet Amos. Daniel Bone. Yining Cao. Ching Lam Chan. Nellie Chan. Li Yuan Chen. Xiaohui Chen. Xinyu Chen. Yingxi Chen. Yushao Chen. Anho Cheng. William Cheong. Adrian James Christensen. Liesl Cruz. Shuye Tui. Fan Sui. Rania Diamante. Shui Bodong. Chen Bing Hang. Stephanie Eliza. Shang Feng. Heyman Stephanie Fung. Dario Gaglioli. Angelicia Adelina Putri Goy. Matthew Stewart Edwin Goodman. Jessica Gunawan. Dat Ha. Julian Carlo Habib. Song Chi Han. Xiao Chen Hong. Chuan He. Fada He. Donghui Hu. Yimeng Hu. Yu Huang. Kowloon Tony Ip. Bonanju. Tanya Kakad. Lilian Kim. Mana Kita. Ian Leo. Min Shi Yu. I present the graduate admitted to the degree of Bachelor of Commerce Accounting, Vivian Huang. I present graduates admitted to the degree of Bachelor of Commerce Professional Accounting, Yanis Spanos. Tan Phong Bui. Cecilia S. Chan. Shiji Chen. Yun Chen. Stella Damajaya. Melissa Marietta de Kretzer. Sheila Putri Diantri. Yi Fang. Kanis Fatima. Ruben Fernandez. Jinghua Gao. Kathleen Gasilva. Christy Halim. Cheng'an He. Tang Lin Huang. Meng Jue Hu. Jiaming Huang. Xiaowen Huang. Mohammed Kamran Javed. Jiwei Jian. Tufik Kassem. Tong Ke. Wenji Ku. I present graduates admitted to the degree of Bachelor of Economics, Zhejiang Ryan Lin. Samuel Nielsen. Andrew Ranjit Singh Tour. Hua Ju. Vice-Chancellor, that completes this morning's presentation of the graduates from the Faculty of Business and Economics.
Ladies and gentlemen, that amazing voice is the voice of Angela Brewer. We are very privileged at Macquarie University to have Angela sing at most of our graduations. I'm sure you would want to join me again in thanking her for such a masterful performance. I'd like to also take this opportunity to thank our musicians for the day, our organist, Dr. James Forsyth, our Chinese flautist, Mr. Chai Chang Ning, surrounding the auditorium today are a number of very important representatives of the alumni community of Macquarie University who come along to help us out at graduation. I'd like you also to join me in thanking them. It is now my pleasure to introduce our occasional speaker, Dr. Gordon de Brouwer. Dr. de Brouwer is the Secretary of the Commonwealth Department of the Environment, responsible for environmental policies, heritage, water, and domestic climate change. He was previously the Associate Secretary in the Domestic Policy Group of the Department of Prime Minister and Cabinet for the Australian Government. In that role, he led departmental and cross-government policy advice to the Prime Minister on domestic policy matters and was also the senior official representing Australia's interests in the G20. Dr. de Brouwer has a doctorate in economics from the Australian National University and first-class baccalaureate and master's degrees in economics from the University of Melbourne. He was awarded the Monbusho and Japan Foundation scholarships for study in Japan in 1987 to 89 and in 1994. He is a member of the Economic Society of Australia. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Dr. de Brouwer.
Vice-Chancellor, faculty members, staff, distinguished guests and graduates, and your families and friends. Thank you for the invitation to speak today. Graduation is a great accomplishment, and I congratulate you on this exciting day. For many of you, this event marks the start of your career or a new step in your professional life. You've achieved one of the biggest steps in your professional life, and you and your family, friends and teachers have a lot to be proud of. In fact, sitting there, you'd be amazed at the faces of pride and love as you've been walking in receiving your degrees. It's around 3 decades ago that I was in your place, and it awakens in me a sense of freshness, optimism and excitement at a future to be lived that I had when I graduated. As I reflect on those 3 decades or so of my career, and what may be of interest to you as you embark on the next step of yours, the key message I have is the importance of remaining open to ideas and open to other people throughout your professional life. So in the past 3 decades, I've worked in a number of government departments and academia, and now in the Environment Department. And I've worked on everything from dealing with financial crises to domestic climate change policy. It's been a journey, and most steps have been unexpected, but every step has been built on previous steps, the broadening of understanding and ideas, and the generosity and kindness of other people. And many of you, like me, have done an economics or commerce degree. Now, I think economics is a great discipline, and I'm very proud to be in that profession. It's a way of thinking that can give you insight that others will look to you to provide to them, and it can be a great help in your working life. Economics is founded on important ideas like opportunity cost, so there's a bit like a lecture, but it's understanding not just what it costs in dollars to get an outcome, but what has to be given up to get that outcome. On cost-benefit analysis, which is the powerful argument of putting evidence to both sides of an argument, not just one. Incentives, that is identifying and influencing the drivers or motivators of behaviour. And dynamic consistency, it's a terrible word, but which is being able to sustain and achieve a desired outcome over time, identifying the forces at play and whether there is a risk of unintended consequences that will undo the intended outcome. So economics is powerful because it can provide a structure or a framework to analyse ideas, events, and the forces at play in the world. Economics can provide a reference point to understand and to explain what's going on in the world, to plan what to do and often what not to do, and to act with the tools and instruments that evidence suggests are the best to deal with the problem at hand. But economics is also a limited and incomplete discipline, and the challenge you've got is to make it a better one. Economists can be so caught up with the beauty of their ideas and the elegance of their models that they fail to see how the idea connects to the real world. And you have a role in bringing the real world to your disciplines. Economists can be so used to talking to each other in their own jargon that they can't speak to other people in ordinary language or to the politicians or the people of their community. So being able to communicate in ordinary language is really essential. So if you want to avoid the trap of insularity in your own professional life, the secret is staying open to ideas and staying open to other people. There may be problems that you want to solve where your training has a lot to offer, but it's not the only way to think through a problem. In environmental policy, for example, different streams of science are important in identifying the biological and climate state of play, but so too is economics in identifying solutions which will last, and so too is law in framing those solutions within the rules and institutions of our society. So environmental policy is genuinely multidisciplinary work, and it's one that works best when it brings in those who are affected in identifying the problem and in working out the solution. So let me give you a practical example. In assessing our legislation, whether a development that affects the environment should go ahead or not, or how it goes ahead, the Department of the Environment bases its advice to the Minister on whether it's possible to avoid the environmental impact, to mitigate the environmental impact, or to offset the environmental impact by taking measures elsewhere that maintain or improve the environmental matter under consideration. This analysis, to be done properly, requires science, economics, commerce and law to be brought together. And to be done well, it requires the policy advisors to work directly with business, communities and other groups to work out the solutions. So with this perspective in my profession, public policy is something that public servants do with people and not do to people. And the solutions are well understood because they're grown with the community. So being open to new ideas or other disciplines beyond the one that you've been trained in is important. And so too is being open to the people you work with. You've done a lot of work over the past few years on building your own personal knowledge and your own individual skills. And a lot of that's been done by you, but by yourself, although with others sometimes, but a lot of it's done by yourself. And that's very important. But what also matters in almost every workplace that I've seen is the ability of people to work effectively with others, to do even better things as a team than you can do as an individual. And very often in a person's working life, this skill of working with the team rather than as an individual often becomes more important over time. So to build on what you've learned in your degree and to enjoy and do well in your professional life, keep an open mind and be open with people. Stay in touch with your fellow students through alumni groups or otherwise. Read and explore ideas. Meet people and engage with people who are different from you. Seek the advice of older people, perhaps as a mentor to you, be they your former teachers, your boss, or other senior people in your workplace who seem approachable and sensible. And as you do your job over the years, keep an eye out for the new starters and help them. So today marks a shift in your lives. I congratulate you and wish you well in your professional life, and thank you for your attention, and thank you both for listening.
Graduates, ladies and gentlemen, I think you would all agree that we have been very privileged to have such a distinguished Australian leader of one of the departments in Canberra here to address us today. Dr. de Brouwer has given the graduates a set of insights out of a distinguished career from his beginnings as an economics graduate through to his current position. And I won't recap on many of the important things that Dr. de Brouwer has said to our graduates today, but I would urge you to give serious thought to his commendation to you in whatever you do, to be thoughtful about doing things with people rather than to them, and always considering that it's often best to work in a team with others. Again, in the finest traditions of university graduation occasional addresses, Dr. de Brouwer, thank you very much. Graduates, this ceremony marks a change in your relationship with Macquarie University, and as Angela sang for us, time to say goodbye. But certainly it is not the end of your association with us. From today on, for the rest of your lives, as Dr. de Brouwer indicated and urged you, you are part of the bigger Macquarie University family, which is our alumni, and part of a network, as I mentioned earlier, of just about 150,000 graduates of Macquarie University spanning the globe. Graduates, the award of a university degree carries many opportunities and privileges, but with all those privileges, there are also responsibilities. I urge you to commit yourselves to a program of lifelong learning and inquiry, to set ambitious goals for yourselves, and to continue the hard work that has brought you to this day today. I challenge you to continue to exercise sound judgment and initiative, and to always be generous in offering practical advice and wisdom to those you meet along life's journey. My hope is that you, as Macquarie University graduates, will use what you have learned here, not only for your own benefit and the benefit of your family, but also for the betterment of the community. During the last 18 months since my assumption of the Vice-Chancellorship at Macquarie University, my colleagues and I across the university have done a piece of work setting the far horizon future for Macquarie University. We have determined that today and for all time, Macquarie University should be a university of service and engagement, an institution serving and engaging with society. One of the most profound statements, in my view, about the notion of service, that is, as I mentioned before, doing something for others, comes from the American jurist Marian Wright Edelman, a wonderful American lawyer who founded the organisation in that country, the Children's Defence Fund, to plead for the rights of children because they do not vote. Dr. Marian Wright Edelman's statement is that service is the rent we pay for living. Service is the rent we pay for living. I urge you to continue on your professional careers, always with a view to serving others as you also advance yourselves. And in everything you do, I call upon you to uphold the good name of Macquarie University. I hope, graduates, that you will also remember those who have helped you along the way to reach this day, many of whom are here with you today. And to acknowledge their contribution and thank them for it, I'm now going to ask you to do a couple of things for me. I'd ask you all to stand, graduates, please, and I want you to place your testimers on your seat and turn around and face your family and friends. And now I invite the graduates to give your family and friends a mighty round of applause. You might turn around now, but don't sit down, as we will be leaving shortly. Here on the platform are representatives of our academic staff at Macquarie University who have supported you and helped you along the way as well. Please join me in thanking them as well also. The official party will soon leave the courtyard, followed by the graduates. As we do so, Dr. Forsyth will play the traditional recessional music of graduations which has been played for decades and centuries. An age-old set of Latin lyrics, Gaudeamus igitur, nos habevit juventutem. Let us rejoice, we will always be young. This verse speaks in a whimsical way of youth and old age at the same time, of the brevity of life and the inevitability of death, of state and city, and of happiness. Gaudeamus igitur, let us therefore rejoice. Guests, might I ask you to stand now as well and remain standing until the last of the graduates has processed out. And then please join us at the University Court for some light refreshments. Again, to the newest graduates of Macquarie University, my warmest congratulations and every best wish for futures filled with success, satisfaction, and most importantly, happiness. Gaudeamus igitur, let us rejoice. Thank you.